Just guessing, just guessing. Greetings, people of the YouTube. It's Multiplier here in what may well be the final video in this studio before I move to a whole new house, which you've probably seen in the video I did a few days ago on new studio tour move part 1, whatever I called it. It's fantastic. Check it out if you haven't. But yeah, this is the final video in the studio. What is going on? Why am I holding this? Why is it not plugged in? What are you doing, Multiplier? Maniac, shouldn't it go in there? No, that is because of what's going on in this video. In fact, just to prove it, see, it connects, it connects, it connects. See, this is for my headphones, this is for my headphones. Diddly, 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 diddly. Yes, this isn't being plugged into there because of what I got and done did. I'll leave that there. So you can see it, proof, there's no film trickery going on, no Photoshop magic. This genuinely is not plugged into there. Established, brilliant, right. I did a video, a collab challenge with Zen World a few days ago, maybe even a week ago, and it was fantastic. You guys loved it, I loved it, I thought it was a lot of fun. Therefore, I reached out to ARTFX, otherwise known as ARTFX or ARTFX or ARTFX Studios, something like that. And yes, I thought, let's reach out to this dude and let's do another collab challenge because that'll be fun. So I was like, sup bro, let's do a collab. And it was like, yeah. And then I was like, sweet. And then I made it happen. So what is the challenge? What is going on? You probably know from the title of the video, this is a make a track or make a song without listening to it challenge. That is why I haven't plugged it in there, because this is how you normally hear stuff. You have the cable bit for your headphones plugged in, and then the sound comes out of the computer through other cables. I don't know, it's magic. It's magic, but you need this in there to hear the sound. I can't hear the sound because that's not plugged in. Let's do the track. Let's make the track without listening to it. And also just to, in fact, I don't even need to, but you know what, just to even convince the people who'll be like, yeah, you've probably got secret headphones or something inside your headphones, or you've got an alien in your brain telling you what's going on. What I'm going to do is also turn down the audition thing in Ableton there so that when you click a sample, it doesn't play out, even though it's not playing out anywhere. And I'll pull down the master. Therefore, it's literally impossible for me to hear anything, even if I had, fuck that up, even if I had plugged this in here. So double protection against listening to the song. So there's no way I can possibly hear this as I'm making it. Let's make it, this will be exciting. Let's make a track without listening to it. And I think this is how, remember, don't quote me on this. I think this is the technique that Borgor uses to make his track. So you never, pro secrets here, pro secrets in this video. Let's get into it. What genre shall I make? Let's make some trap music. Or no, future bass, that's way more trendy. Let's make some future bass. So let's choose a very futuristic BPM, like, oh, it's just cables in the, whose idea was the cable? What am I gonna do with this? I was trying to choose a BPM, now I've got a cable. What's going on now? Right, okay, you can see it. Fine, right, cool, BPM. Let's choose a futuristic BPM. What about 100? No. 99.9. Yeah, no one does that. Futuristic. So 99.9, and I need to choose some. Right, what shall I choose? Kick drums. Let's choose a kick drum. In fact, let's do it speedy. Speed is of the essence in this video. I know normally I don't go very speedy. I'm more interested in giraffes and jibber jabber, but you know what? Let's do it speedy style. So deadmau5 got some good kicks, and of course, I've no idea what they sound like, lol. So I'm just gonna have to choose one. Oh, come back. Right, let's choose a shorty one, a little one. That's which is these is short. That one's pretty short. Shall I use a drum rack? No, drum rack. Right, let's do a drum rack because I never use drum racks. Let's not use a drum rack because drum racks are stupid. You see, I haven't even dragged anything in. I'm just jibber jabbering. Classic Multiplier. Right, let's get into it. So I'm gonna drop a kick drum there because you need some kick drums in the track. Gonna get rid of the fade, and the sun's coming out. Oh, lovely, look at that, sunshine. Sunshine is coming out to play, and I'm gonna have to sing along to you or just like talk a lot because otherwise you're not gonna hear anything. So what I'm going to do is Command J to consolidate, make that into a little loop-de-loop, get rid of the fade, and look at that, I have a little ding-dong sort of like kick drum thing to, right, cool, kick drum is like that. And of course, now my instinct is to go, right, I've got kick drum in, let's make sure it sounds good. But of course I can't hear it, so I have no idea. And you can't hear it either. So no one has any idea what this sounds like. Not even deadmau5 himself. Right, so what's next? I need some sort of like sort of thing. Snare, even clap or snare. So I'm gonna go to 2. Have I got my, yeah, I've got my external samples. Cymatics have some good snares. Future bass. Drums, yeah, drums even. Drums are good. And clap, so clap 5. There you go. I'm gonna drop that over the second beat of the bar, so creating a standard bit of kick drum snare action. And I'm gonna just move it a little bit to the left like that. Magical stuff, and do another little trick, same as before. Come on, J. Bingo, bango, bongo, and loop. I can then drag it out. Sweetness. And then what I can do after that is I'll do levels afterwards. I'll do it kind of as I go. So -6 for the kick drum. So I've got kick drum clap. Let's throw a reverb on the clap. Let's make it big and exciting with a Tour Reverb preset. Crystal Cave is good. That should be fine and dandy. Although, do I want to put that on a separate channel? Yeah, I'm going to put that on a return track. Scratch that. Right, insert, create, return track. Do a little paste, and then I've got course, make sure, because it's a return track effects send thing, that it's fully wet. So bing, or in fact, let's choose the fully wet preset. Don't know why, just because why not? So wet, Crystal Cave, and there you go. I then need to send that channel to the return track with a bit of, oh, where's it gone? Got to press these little buttons down here for the Skrillex and right shoe button for something. Right, cool. Pull that up, sweet. So, and let's name the channels. Baseline, and then we're gonna call this one baseline. And then we're gonna move that to there, and then cool. Right, got a kick and a clap, kick and a can't talk going on. Right, cool. Let's do some chords now. But oh, my mouse is at the top of the screen, maniac. Right. Let's do some chords now. This is where the magic happens. Magic, right, cool. I need to do let's use a bit of a trick. Let's use I'm going to use the chord bit. I'm just gonna do it as I talk. Because you know what, sometimes I have this thing where in YouTube I go, this is what I'm going to do, and then I do it instead of just like merging it together. Right, cool. I'm gonna load up a instrument rack with complete control. Yeah, complete control, VST, drag it out, just like that. Look at that, takes a million years because Native Instruments, you suck. And yeah, genuinely, I won't get into the rant right now, but cool. Right, have that going. I then need to load up an instrument, some form of sound. Now I'm going to use what looks cool here. I reckon, what do I reckon? I reckon lots of things. I'm going to use, yeah, Lush 101, because that has some super fly, super dope sounds in it. And in general, I'm a big fan of super fly, super dope sounds. They're one of my favorite categories of sound. So I've got cool sound here, and of course I've no idea what it sounds like, but let's go through presets, because I loosely know what some of these presets sound like. So you got like, yes, first of all, because I'm doing right theory time, pay attention people, pay attention. I am doing chords. Future bass relies heavily on chords. So what I'm going to do is find a preset in here that allows me to play chords. Therefore, I need to go to poly, not mono, because poly is for polyphonic. In other words, you can play multiple notes at the same time, whereas mono or monophony means you can only do one note at a time, which is not a chord. Chord is multiple notes. Therefore, must be in the poly section. And yeah, Decay has some good ones, even keyboard, to be honest. Fairy Tale, that sounds pretty fun. Fairies, Fairy Tale, I bet that sounds lovely. Cool, so chosen a preset. Now what I need to do is go to Chord Set Mode. So I'm gonna hit these little things up here. These are golf bats, because something to do with the origins of chords. They were first invented on a golf course. So you've got to think about with the golf clubs. Chords were invented when they were doing the pitching. So chords, pitching, golf clubs, that's why the golf club button is up there. Then scale, so yeah, does even scale stuff. So scale stuff, chord set into, yeah, change the mode to chord set. And here is where I can choose the scale. Let's choose, now my name is Adam, so I'm going to choose A because A is a fantastic letter. It's also the first letter of the alphabet. And then I'm going to choose major, one of the majors 4. There you go. Major 4 should be cool. And now, as I press a single note on the keyboard or trigger it in piano roll, a chord will come out. The problem is, I've no idea what the chord will sound like because, of course, I can't hear anything. But that's cool. We can guess. And yeah, let's do that right now. So remember, as I'm drawing in individual notes on the piano roll, it's actually going to trigger a chord out of complete control. Magical. So I'm going to have to just completely guess. Oh, crikey, crikey, crikey. A bit of this, and then probably a bit of that. Why not? Why not? And then a bit of like dum, ba, dum, dum, boom. That. And then that's probably a really nice chord progression. Probably, or not. We'll find out pretty soon, pretty later. See you later, alligator. Yeah, that'll hopefully work. I've no idea. We'll find out. Oh, yeah, need to also make it more future bassy. Or shall I do it future bassy like this? Yeah, let's get creative. Creativity. Let's do some future bass sidechain compression. So it's like like that. And that's what future bass is. So need to take this sound, which hopefully, I mean, I don't really know what, I don't know for certain what fairy tale sounds like, but hopefully it's all kind of like something like that, and then I can apply some sidechain compression to it, and that'll give you that future bass modulation. Modulation is a good word, it's the technical term. And then I'm going to also call this one, so I don't forget, bass line as well. Actually, I forgot to do classic mistake, multiply. No wonder. Right, cool. Got to color code it. Now, a big part of future bass is the colors. Now, don't get me started on colors. We've been there before, haven't we? With the whole colors thing. So don't argue with me. My color choice is the correct color. Muddled up that sentence. My color choice is the best. So I'm going for future bass colors, and they're not really future bassy enough. So I need some more. Lighter. That's the thing. That's went a bit heavy there. So let's change that to a light. Wow, that's much better. Look at that. Looks more future bassy already. So there's a tip for you. Make sure you choose nice and light colors. I'm going to choose. Oh, look at that. So much better. Oh no, it's not. No, it's just wrong again. Got to do that. There you go. Right, there you go. There you go. We're on, oh, is that right? Yeah. We'll run with that. Cool. So we have the bass line, and the bass line. Let's now do some sidechain compression to the chord progression. So I'm going to do a compressor. Let's even use a little trick, FF1 mode. If you haven't heard of FF1 mode, people, and look ahead time of 10 milliseconds, look it up or check out a video I did on my channel about it. So I'm going to go to, that's if you use Ableton. I pressed the wrong button. What happened there? I've broken it. And because I undo, of course, control is a stupidly, control, you're so stupid. I hate you so much. It's probably broken now. It's probably forgotten. No, it's still there, which is cool. So fairy tale, let's double check. Good fairy tales. So hopefully that still works. I've got no faith in it. You might have seen I don't have the best relationship with Native Instruments. Neither does anyone else who uses almost any of their products. Nightmare. Right, cool. So yeah, as I was getting to, drag out Live 8 compressor, hit it into sidechain mode, and I need to set up the input for the sidechain. So remember, for future bass, you have like for a chord or something like, but then you want to have it like something like that. So you got to get it modulating up and down, not just like with the kick, but like basically you're creating rhythmic interest with sidechain modulation, compression even, same thing, different, but it's like fingers and thumbs. Compression is modulation, but not all modulation is compression. Fingers and thumbs. Not all fingers are thumbs, thumbs all fingers. You know what I mean. We're 18 minutes in and I'm right, cool. Speedy up, multiplier, speedy up. Got to get faster, You know what? I'm only going to do a minute of this track. It's pointless doing the whole thing. We'll work it out. Anyway, right. Right. I was doing something, wasn't I? But I wasn't right. Got to get the input for the... Oh, what happened there? Charles, the control needs to load up again. Oh, buttons. Undo again. Right, cool. Right, let's double check because again, I've got no confidence in complete control. Right, cool. So bass line, and then this is the input for the chords, the future bass chords. Yeah, And right, so I need to get some sort of like input trigger. So let's find a nice, simple, clean kick drum, something like these soft analog kicks from Vengeance. Now that's perfect. Look at that. That is a perfect bit of something. So now I need to mentally visualize what's happening or guess as to what sort of pattern for the sidechain compression will work. So the way to visualize this is wherever I place one of these kick drums, that will do sidechain compression on the chord synth layer, and that will duck it and it'll be like just like that. Right, cool. Right, also I need to do, I need to make sure that this input for the sidechain compression, wobbled the table there, wobbled the table, wobbly, jelly is wobbly. Need to make sure the input for this sidechain compression doesn't go out to the master. So I/O button for input output even, and then change the master to sends only. So it sends out, but it doesn't go to the master. Coolies, right. So now I need to so I need to try and just like draw some sort of pattern. Kind of guessing, kind of using some judgment, a bit of both. I'm kind of guessing, kind of using a bit of judgment. Remember, there's a really important concept in EDM, no, not just EDM, dance music as a whole, or in fact most of modern, in fact pretty much all music, called syncopation. Look up syncopation. If you don't know what syncopation is, loosely speaking, it is when the rhythm of something happens on the offbeat. Or technically there's a more loose definition, which is not just the offbeat, but not on the kick drum. It's a roundabout way of me saying that I'm trying to place the defining things for the rhythm. In fact, you know what? I have homework for you. Homework, you must do this homework. Go onto Wikipedia and search for syncopation. Look it up, look up the hardcore music theory definition for syncopation, just to give you some familiarity with words. Familiarity. It'll give you some familiarity with the word syncopation. And now I'm going to tell you how that applies to this particular example. So in this particular example, I want to make sure there's some rhythmic interest, the main defining moments of the rhythm happening, not where the kick drums are. And in general, it's going to be on the offbeats right in between the kick drums. Therefore, it will feel dancey and not just ploddy, like a diplodocus, like a diplodocus. Well, no, because diplo doesn't plod along like a diplodocus. That's confusing. But yes, you've got to have your rhythmic interest on the offbeats, and that creates the bouncy, dancey energy. That's also why, if you take a look at where I've placed the chord changes, most of them happen on the offbeat. So that happens on the offbeat, that happens on the offbeat, that happens on the offbeat. That's all because of syncopation. Pretty cool, right? Chances are you're doing it subconsciously, but it can be quite nice to know about if you find you're trying ideas out and it's not working. You can be like, duh, multiplier told me about syncopation. Let's employ it in our productions. Wowzers trousers. Knowledge, you see? It's not just fun and games. You learn stuff. Wicked. And yeah, right, cool. Let's actually get on with some, drawing these mofos in. Just guessing. And then probably let's try not three, let's try something like that, and then a bit over there, then a bit over like, what's going on over there? Like, cool, that will do just fine. And then that'll be the input for, let's turn down the levels of these, so all at -6, and then we'll do some levels at the end. Now, this doesn't want to go on to like an hour long necessarily, this video, so 20 minutes in right now. I'd rather just get one bit of the track working really well, instead of spending 2 or 3 hours doing an entire track. Yeah, cool. That makes more sense. So we have the kick, the clap going to reverb, the sidechain compression on the chord progression, which we haven't actually set up properly yet. So we need to do the compressor, input audio from. Now this is confusing because I've labeled them all baseline. Maybe I should call this one baseline in capitals, then I know exactly what one that is. So now I can see audio from baseline in capitals. The audio is coming from, that input going into the sidechain compressor, pull down the threshold. It's got quite a short little look to it, so release time 20 will probably work quite well. Ratio, crank that up to 8 or so. And I reckon using my judgment, which is fantastic, that'll sound good. Let's throw in some effects, wowzers trousers. Do we need a bass line? I don't even know. Let's not have a bass because I don't even know. Maybe the chord will provide bass notes, but there's no way for me to know. Although there is, I could use a spectrum analyzer. That's not cheating, is it? Wowzers trousers, look at that. So if I do spectrum analyzer on this chord progression, which I've conveniently labeled bass line, you can see what's going on in the spectrum analyzer. So I'm looking at the fundamental notes here. So there's a few below 100 and a few definitely below 100. Therefore, the bass is coming from, oh, some nice delays on that. You can even see the delays and reverb. That's cool. That means, oh, knowledge. This is good. This is good. This is good. So first of all, I've learned two things from this. I've learned, first of all, said first of all twice. I've said first of all 2 times, 4 times now. Crikey. What I've learned is there's bass frequencies, there's bass notes coming out of that chord progression. Therefore, I don't need a separate bass line, which is cool because that means there's less work for me to do. And I'm a fan of doing less work. That's probably why this is also Borgor's favorite strategy for making music. Also, the other thing I learned looking at this spectrum analyzer, so you have delay and reverb tails. I can see the wobbliness from the reverb and I can see the delay instances. Therefore, I know from a mixing perspective that this sound is going to completely fill out the mix. There's delays, rhythmic interest, reverb, fantastic. And that's cool. That means I don't have to fill out the mix with loads of reverb and stuff because that is doing a nice big full sound. Wickety, wickety, splickety, splickety. And yeah, I don't think that'll become a catchphrase. We'll work on it. Also, what I've learned from this is the chord progression I used is quite low. It's as low as it can get. Therefore, I probably want some higher up contrapoint. I said the wrong word there. I want a higher up melody, a counterpoint melody, probably not technically counterpoint. I basically want a higher up bit of melody, a bit of rhythmic interest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have that be like that drop and then 4 bars later or 8 bars. Let's just do 4 bars because, yeah, can't be bothered to wait another 4 bars. I mean, I don't have an infinite amount of time here. I mean, I'm not some sort of infinite amount of time person. So I'm then going to do them. For someone who spends his whole day talking into a microphone, I'm not very good at actually saying things, but that's okay. Yes, what I'm going to do is get a top line melody ting-a-ling-a-ling into it. Right, cool. So I am going to do an arpeggio even if I'm going to use the correct article. So I'm going to do duplicate. Yes, what I want to do the arpeggio, there's a few ways I can do this. I think the easiest way to do it will be to basically use the same chords. So, right, logic here. This is theory time. I'm going to use the same chords as the main chord progression, but an octave or 2 higher up. And then I'm going to choose a preset that I know turns a chord into an arpeggio. Therefore, I don't have to use an arpeggiator. I can just use the arpeggiator built into a preset. Does that make sense? Hopefully it will do in a sec. This is pretty game-changing. I mean, this isn't, by the way, this isn't really a tutorial. I mean, you're gonna learn some things, but it's pretty game-changing to do some teaching without listening. I think so, yeah. So yeah, cool stuff, right? Yeah, right. So now I have bassline, which I'll also leave called, got to change the color to orange. No. Orange. Yeah, that's cool. No. Yeah, orange, cool. So what I'm going to do is pitch these up just 1 octave. I'll show you why in a sec. So just 1 octave, therefore it should be a whole octave away from the main chord progression. And then I'm going to change the preset to something that kicks out an arpeggio from the chord input. Remember, I still have complete control set up in chord set mode. Therefore, the single note is still playing a chord. All I need to do now is change this instrument. And Audio Helix has some fantastic arpeggios, probably my favorite arpeggio presets. And Heavenly Drips, that sounds pretty freaky. Let's do that. Heavenly Drips. So we're in the ARPs section, and I know the arpeggios in Audio Helix are super fly. Yeah, so it's going to do some Heavenly Drips. That is pretty sweet. And that's the arpeggio. So let's call it bassline up, just like that. And what I'm going to do is mix it up a bit, because right now it's the same thing happening, but in a different rhythmic context, a different phonic sort of context, higher up with the arpeggio, but I want to make a slight variation. So for the final bit of this 4-bar section, I'm going to make a variation. This is a standard technique in songwriting. You take a single existing idea, you create a variation on it, therefore it's similar but different, and that's that perfect balance in music between something the listener expects versus something they don't expect. Bingo, bango, bongo. I was going to do a clap, but I don't want to like smash into the microphone. But yeah, I was going to do it again, but of course the microphone, I'm getting better when I'm not bashing into it. Yeah, let's just do it. Right, cool. So I'm going to do a bit of, in fact, you know what, should yeah, let's do, shift up. That shifts it an octave. Oh, got a text message, no, an email from JZ, ignore that for the time being, and then yeah, duplicate that forward. Just thinking through, shift it down, and then Yeah, and then down. There you go. Cool. And then it'll be like, does that make sense? Because it'll be like, that. That makes sense? Hopefully it does. You'll hear it in the track eventually. That is that idea. Right, time to throw some sound effects in there. So I want like a, no I don't. I want a, maybe a, I know where to find one of those. Cymatics, and the Cymatics future bass bonuses, which you can't even get anymore. I don't even think they exist. Future bass bonuses. One of these white noises. Now I'm going to look at the waveform, see if I can. There you go. That looks like, no, that's sidechain compressed. I think that one's got a sort of thing going on. So I'm going to drag that out. Drag it out. Oh, there you go. Look at that. Looks good to me. Looks good to me. Is it being warped? Yes. Turn that off. So now it's like diddly 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 diddly, and then probably want a bit of more. Maybe let's like pitch it down a bit over here. Yeah, why not? Let's pitch it down like Batman. 7 semitones. Wowzers, trousers. I said I was going to stop saying that. Only for this. I've said it like 10 times this video. And then color code it different so I don't get muddled up. And yeah, let's color code it something like, it's a white noise, so let's color code it white. That is logical, isn't it? Yeah, maybe slightly off-white. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'm happy with that. It's different. Yeah, it's white, but it's off-white. That's cool. What am I going to do next? This would take like 4 hours if I did an entire track. What can I do that is useful to show you people? You know what? I need some sort of like... I need some sort of like top loop, top line percussion, bit of something just to keep it ticking forward, something subtle, something soft. Oh, and then also some natural ambience. Let's do both of that now. With let's throw in some ambience. I don't want to only use cymatic stuff. It feels like overusing one set of tings. I mean, the top lines are really good. So drum loops, hi-hat loops. What looks really tiny? What looks really tiny? That looks pretty tiny, doesn't it? That's some little tiny ticky-tacky sort of things. That looks cool to me. Yeah, they look pretty small. Do that. And yeah, they'll yep, cool. And then we'll adjust the levels in a bit. And I need some natural ambience. Let me look through some Gold Baby stuff, because I used a lot of cymatic stuff. I don't want to only use cymatics. That feels a little bit like cheating and ting. No, let's try the Capson. I think did some Dirt and Layers or something. It's like yeah, buttons and that. Right, TD, whatever that is. It's TDDC. I can't remember the name of that pack. It's really cool though. Capson sent it to me, so I think he has some inspiration. Oh, that sounds good. Oh, they're hits. I don't want that. I want a WAV inspiration. You inspire? No, crackle. We should do some crackle. Maybe. Yeah, let's just do some standard crackle. No idea what that sounds like though. That's the problem with this. You've no idea what it sounds like. Oh, bird song. I like birds. Bubbling. I like bubbles too. Drips. That's probably the most logical. Certainly water is a common theme in future bass. And yeah, I also want do I want to prime another source of interest? I mean, I have that cool chord progression, but is that enough? I've no idea because I can't hear it. Probably is. Good question. Good question, Multiplier. I'm full of good questions. Now the question is, shall I do any mixing? Let's do some mixing. Why not? Maybe if I put it through there and then through there. Right, cool. I think it needs more pizzazz. It needs more pizzazz. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to just treat this as an 8-bar section and get it sounding as good as possible, and that'll be the idea. Cool, so what I'm going to do is name the channels. So I'm going to call this White Noise, and call this one Low Hat. No, Low Hit even, that's fine, whatever. And call these Water Ting Bro. And then make it bigger so I can see it. Water Ting Bro. Oh no, the water one's got to be blue. Crikey. That was nearly a humongous mistake there. Oh, it's one of my favorite future bass colors, that. Classic future bass color. Right, is that clashing with the color at the top? It might be clashing. Not important. Right, let's do some mixing. First of all, something that I know I can do is cut out the low end. I can do that by eye. So I'm going to go, first of all, to the bass line, this second bass line. Stick a EQ and EQ even on there. And just, yeah, filter out the low end rumble. Like that. Then just copy it across. The bass is actually coming from that layer, so don't want to do it there. For the arpeggio, then I can... Ooh, ooh, ooh. Is that a bit too low? Ooh, 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 ooh. There you go, looks fine. Yeah, whatever, who cares? Right, that's not even going out to the master. That's just going to the sidechain compressor. White noise. Let's do it. Actually, to be fair, Cymatics are normally pretty good at filtering out the low end on stuff, so don't really need to do that, but whatevs trevs. And on this little ticky-tacky hi-hat loop, again, it's probably fine, or in this case, not. It's pretty standard stuff, to be honest. And then we've got Water Ting Bro. What's going on here? Do a bit of a paste. That looks like it's already high pass, but that's cool. We just chuck that on there for the lols and giggles. Righteous. So let's do a basic balancing of the elements by eye. Then I'll do some mastering, bro. Cool. Right. Let's look at these levels. Remember, everything works around the kick drum. So the labeling's right. I'm actually labeling this properly, so I can't concentrate. Kicks. Clap. Now I'm gonna call that crab. Bass line. Not the bass, but has bass. There you go. And then, not important. Right. Looking at these levels, I've got a loop. Let's set a little loop brace. Command L, L for lovely. And so I've got the kicks going to -6. The crabs are, pull that down in 1 dB. Not the bass is going a bit too high. Looking at the levels there, pull that down to the -9. Bear in mind there's, what's going on there? Needs to up a bit more, actually, up a bit more. Down. Is that right? I've no idea. The problem is I can't hear it. That is why it's quite difficult. That'll be okay. It was going really high in places. That'll be, whatever, that's okay, right? Arpeggio, where's that going to? Probably, well, I can play it from here, right? Arpeggio, what's going on there? Maniac, right? Oh, right, cool. This is confusing. That's probably fine, isn't it? Look at that. Let's bring that up. Just no, I don't want all of it up, right? That's what she said. Not important. That's not important. White noise, where's that to? Actually, probably about right, to be honest. Not too dominating. Maybe just a touch, because it's not a normalized clip. Low hit, which is actually a hi-hat, so I'm going to call it hi there. And see where they go to. Remember, they don't normally go anywhere near as loud as the kick drum, but you still want to be able to hear it normally without stealing attention away from everything else. But of course, that's quite hard to gauge without using your ear holes. This challenge could be a complete disaster. We'll find out soon together. Watch out for that. Water Ting. Now, this must be quiet. This should be subtle. And also, let's throw that through some reverb. Right, we have, yeah, let's do it the easy style. Let's just throw it through that return track. Like that, just a little bit like that, and pull it way down. Normally around -25, -30. Tends to be the right sort of level for natural ambience in general. Again, that's generalizing a little bit. Now, you may be thinking, why haven't you thrown a compressor on their multiplier? Everyone needs to compress. Incorrect, you don't need to. You can do that at mastering. Now, you also may be wondering, why haven't I thrown like delays, reverbs on stuff? Well, I have thrown a few reverbs on there. I've thrown a reverb on the clap and also thrown this Water Ting Bro through a reverb. But remember, this layer here, this not the bass line, but has bass layer, which is actually a chord progression, which was Fairy Tale. That has delay and reverb on it, I think. It definitely has one of those two, which we worked out from the spectrum analyzer. Therefore, that layer there, this one that looks quite innocuous, let's color code it something more exciting, like bright yellow. This layer here that now looks a lot more exciting is going to be quite exciting. It's going to have a complicated, rich, interesting sound, I hope. I guess we'll find out pretty soon. So next step is to do mastering, bro. Or kind of pseudo mastering. Mastering is the right word for this. Cool. I'm gonna go to Isotope Ozone 7 and chuck that onto master. And yeah, let's do, what shall I do? Let's do a bit of, oh yeah, there's a really good tape presence. Is that in the Exciter module? There's a really good module preset. Yeah, tape presence is fantastic. So I'll give it some tape vibe, and then it will sound a million times better because it's analog, yeah. And run that through. So it's got a bit of extra sizzle, bit of extra sparkle. Don't need to compress because compression is mostly pointless. I'll talk to you more about that in a later video. Ceiling, it's not important for this video because I'm not exporting a master. Let's just set it at -3. That isn't what I would set it at, but whatever. Again, not important for this video. True peak limiting, good habit to get into. And what I'm going to do is pull down the threshold until the kick drums are definitely triggering it, and then probably just leave it around there. I don't need to do any super cray limiting for reasons that, again, I'll get into in a later video. You don't need to make your track loud anymore. In fact, due to perceived loudness normalization, it's actually in your interest not to make loud tracks. Again, that's a half an hour topic of conversation. It's about a 10-minute topic of conversation, but I could ramble on for another 20, so I'll do that in another video. Look forward to that. That'll freak you out mental styly. And yeah, let's pull down the threshold until the kicks are triggering the limiter, which you can see in the readout. Let's do it. Oh, start pointing in the right place, maniac. Right, cool, let's do it. So at the moment, the kicks are these dudes that I'm pointing at, which you can't see because, of course, you're just looking at a man pointing at a screen. That's a kick. Where my mouse is now, you can see the kicks. So if I pull this down, I've just had a thought. This could be a very, very slow track. I thought it was I might have set the BPM a bit wrong. That went through really slowly. Oh, my computer's exploding. What is going on there? Oh, crikey. Look at that CPU. What is going on? That's a disaster. Emergency. What I'm going to do is change the settings on Tour Reverb because I suspect... Oh, I've got Lush 101 running. That's that, yeah, and also Tour Reverb. Right, let's change the settings on Tour Reverb. I shouldn't have to do this, but let's just kick it back to low. So it still sound good, hopefully. I could always just use a less good limiter. I've got the settings in Lush 101 cranked up to the max as well. That'll be why my CPU was exploding. I actually have quite a good computer. It's not even in highest quality mode, is it? Whatever. Let's just give that a quick go. I might have to choose a less good limiter. Oh yeah, right. We're gonna have to go back. Oh, I don't want to. Oh, I hate that. Turn off true peak limiting. Maybe that was. What is going on with my CPU, man? We're going to have to actually do a less good limiting algorithm, but that's okay. IRC2, it kills me to do this, but we're going to have to for the sake of my CPU. My computer's still exploding. Oh, this is a disaster. Right, what I have to do is... Oh, I shouldn't have deleted that. Undo. What I'm going to have to do is bounce all this down to audio. Right, this is also knowledge. Knowledge time with multiplier. So if you run into this issue yourself, which you probably have if you've done any music production, here's what you can do. So I'm going to change all the settings to max and bounce this down to a fresh audio file and then just run that through mastering as a separate process. And then my computer should be fine. In fact, you know what, just for fun, let's see if my computer can handle the max settings for... I'll just not change the defaults because that will destroy my computer. We're just changing the settings on Lush 101. If we're going to bounce down to audio, you want to make sure all your plugins are running in maximum quality mode. So yeah, current quality high. And then, yeah, let's just bounce that down to audio. Shall I do it by recording? Yeah, let's do it by recording. Right, cool. So to do that, yeah, fresh audio track, change the input to resampling. Hit the arm button, and then I'm just going to turn off the loop and record from here. Hopefully my computer won't explode. It's not working at all. Why did that not record? I'm pretty sure that should work. Cool, so, well, that didn't work at all. Actually, edit that out, maybe edit it out. I haven't decided. Instead, what I'm going to do is just literally export this project. So save live set as project bro ARTFX. Collect all and save. beep, just a good habit to get into. And then I can do a export just by simply selecting, just hitting export. That works too. Export, 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 32-bit, because of course I'm going to master it, so you don't want to do any downsampling to a lower bit depth. Remember, you work in 32-bit in Ableton. So bingo, bango, bongo, do a little export, drag that out, and it's not working. Why is that not? It's completely broken. Do you know what I did? Do you know what I did? I'm kind of glad that I know why it wasn't working, but it's also a little bit embarrassing because I should have known. Although, because it's something I don't normally do, that's why I'm all out of sync with things. What I forgot to do is turn up the master. Remember, you can't hear anything, I can't hear anything. That's why it didn't work on the export. So I could have done that original thing. Let's rewind, edit, edit. So I'm going to turn up the master to 0, export. Now I still can't hear anything because of my headphones, but hopefully you can't too. I can always edit it out if you do hear it at this stage. So export, look at that. Oh, gotta be careful now. Pull down that, pull down the master. Cool, now we don't hear it. Right, sure. So looking at that, it's looking good. Now we can do the mastering. This took time, bruv. It took bare time. Right, let's change that to same BPM as before, just so everything lines up. Ding, there you go. That's some reality sort of producing experiences for you. Cool, right. Let's do it again, Exciter. Module presets, tape presence is fantastic in most situations, and now hopefully I can use IRC3 without my computer exploding. It's nearly exploding. Why is it doing that? It's having a panic attack. Deal with it, right? I've had enough for you. Deal with it. Oversampling's turned on. That shouldn't be too much of a... There you go. More knowledge for you, people. Knowledge time, knowledge time, knowledge time. With multiplier, the oversampling button was turned on. Now, I like to leave the oversampling button turned on because it sounds better, but when your computer's doing a million things at once, like recording a video, it can strain your CPU. See what difference this does? Oversampling off to on. Look at that. Off, on. Look at that. By default, it's actually off. So you always want to keep your eye out for quality settings like this in your plugins, just so when you come to do your export, you always leave them in the highest possible quality. And oversampling is just a technical term for making it higher quality. So for the initial bit, I'm going to turn it off. In fact, I'm going to completely deactivate Exciter just to set the level of the limiter. Then I'll turn it on, do an export, bingo, bango, bongo. We have a track that hopefully sounds not ridiculous. It will probably sound bad. Hopefully it sounds good. I have no idea. We'll find out together. Righteous. So remember, when setting the limiter, rewind a bit. Rewind your brains. I want to make sure that the kick is triggering the limiter, but not by much, because they don't need to be crushing it super loud, but the kick does need to be hitting 0. So I'll pull this down until the kick is triggering, and the claps are definitely triggering. You can see the claps are triggering, but not the kicks yet. Bit further, and you know what? Not quite, a bit more. There you go. Look at that. You can see the kicks are just triggering the limiter. See the little blips? Therefore, I've done exactly enough limiting, but no more. Sweetness. And a good habit is true peak limiting, so you don't get clipping in the analog domain once it converts from digital to analog using your sound card, which it has to do at some stage, because we live in a real world and not a digital computer simulation. So oversampling, turn it back on, and let's bounce this down to audio using, look at a CPU going nuts, and then bounce it down to audio using a nice simple freeze. It's taking its time, and then we will have this completed, and we can both listen to this, and you and me together can be like, well, that sucked. So we'll find out right now. Oh, this is going to sound, I've spent an hour doing, how long have it was? Nearly an hour, 50 minutes doing this. And it can sound awful. But you know what? Hasn't it been fun? Even before I play this, haven't you had the time of your life? So setting the level of the master back to 0. And here is the moment of truth now. I'm kind of panicking now because I've taken up 50 minutes of your time, and most of you probably won't skip to the end. In fact, some of you probably skip to the end, in which case, hello, if you're seeing me, having not seen the beginning, hi. But I reckon more of you have just kind of watched it. So that's cool. Oh no, this could sound so bad. I'm not sure if it sounds bad. I do apologize in advance if this sounds bad, but in my defense, I wasn't actually listening to it. So Oh, I've got. Oh, I don't want to. I don't want to listen. Oh, it could sound awful. It could sound really bad. It could sound so bad that. Oh, maybe I should listen with my eyes closed. No, too scary. I'm really nervous. Right, cool. Got my headphones turned on. Yeah. That's not as bad as I thought. Wowzers trousers. I quite like it, actually. That definitely turned out better than I was expecting. Let's listen again. Let's listen again. See if you can see if you can point out which elements I was making at the time. Remember, there's a kick, there's a clap, there's the main chords, there's the sidechain compression on the chords, giving you that rhythmic future bass vibe. There is the little ticky-tacky percussion top loop, the hi-hat loop, and a water driplet thing, which may not even sound like water driplets, but probably does. Yeah, that was all right, that. Also the white noise sort of thing. That could kind of work as an intro. It could, couldn't it? That could be an intro or an outro or a break. Definitely not the drop section, but that's because I wasn't paying attention to the BPM enough. That was my bad, but sonically, that could be an intro, couldn't it? Well, it's got some nice bits in it, but yeah, that happened right there. I'd say considering I didn't listen to it, it turned out all right. I definitely, let's reflect on it together. The biggest mistake was, well, there were two mistakes. The biggest mistake was the timing. It's a little bit slower, a bit more ploddy than I thought. That's the BPM, yeah. I should have chosen 160 or 150. If I'd chosen 160, maybe I can just speed it up, see what that sounds like. Got to turn the warping on. Just for out of interest, let's see if it sounds better sped up. Yeah, the warping's turned on. Let's repitch it. So sonically, it may sound a bit strange. The actual notes may sound a bit strange, but let's just speed that up to 160 and it should sound a bit better, hopefully. No, because then the kicks and the snares are wrong. Okay, I just got the timing way out. Okay, that was my biggest mistake. I got the timing a bit wrong, but it still kind of works as an intro. I think sonically, it does work, and the elements aren't too badly kind of mixed level-wise. I want the arpeggio louder. That bit's really cool. Maybe I'll just loop that. You know what? I could just be like, right, this is what I made. Look at that, bro. Look at that, bro. That's pretty lovely, isn't it? But let's not do that. Yes, right, cool. That is it. Make it that what you made. Also, check out ARTFX's channel if you haven't already. Check out his tutorials, because the whole idea is it's me versus him challenge. And yeah, so check out his channel if you haven't heard of him before. If you have heard of him before, cool. Also check out my videos. Don't ignore Multiplier. The cool thing about this is it was interesting and I did learn something. So in fact, you know what? I recommend further homework. This is extended homework for you hardcore multipliers. Try this out for yourself. It's an interesting mental exercise to try and work out what's going on in your track without listening. It gets you critically thinking, and yes, I thought it was interesting. It was intellectually interesting. And I've kind of got an intro for a future bass track out of it. I mean, it certainly has that future bass vibe, which is cool. But yeah, I liked it. That was something else. That was cool. Check out ARTFX's response to the challenge, because remember, it's a collab. Check out his video too. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, how this went, if you have any more challenge ideas, who else I should challenge to a duel or a collab or to a sword fight. Any of those is cool. And yeah, fantastic. What may have been the final video in the Multiplier studio. We will see how this week goes, but yeah, I move in. I've no idea when this video goes live, so soon, probably a few days. Keep your eye out for that, and let's finish off with a clap, because that is how I want to finish off all my videos.